simple.
Okay, I was like, who wasn't sure? All right. I better cut that shit out so you can say he ain't playing that shit.
Crispy dinner, bitch, I don't give a fuck what you said. Y'all nigga bun, y'all be rockin' bootleg. Crispy dinner, bitch, I give a fuck who said. These nigga bun, they be rockin' bootleg. Bitch on my line and I tell her I ain't pressed. Niggas steal my style, that's some shit I don't dread. Get a nigga stuck, get the bitch the bootleg. Niggas fucking bums, they be rockin' bootleg. Bitches 300 for the Westwood crew neck. Leaks on the belt, see the point, it's a bet. Bad ass bitch, think a nigga keep sweat. Smoking on the dope, always bout to eject.
Yo. Welcome, everybody. How are we doing today? First off, I want to thank all people who are watching. Most of all, I want to thank PandaThePaladin, our number one guest for tonight. Thank you so much for being here. For people who don't know, my name is LeJason Lovett from Rochester, New York. I'm a streamer, and what I'm looking forward to doing is getting this conversation going and definitely getting out a lot of the undertones that are carried in the Twitch community. And I hope everybody gets a lot of value out of this. And I want to let my guest introduce himself as well. So if you'd like to, you can go right ahead. Panda.
Oh, hey, what's up?
There you go.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was waiting for you to film. I was trying to watch a stream and have this up so I can know when to go in, but obviously delays and shit. Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is PandaThePaladin, or James, whatever you want to call me. My name is James Portis. I am from originally from Akron, Ohio. Moved to Troy a while back. This is what happens when I close the freaking thing. I am a streamer. I am also a podcaster. I am a editor-in-chief of a comic book review website. I do a lot of things. It's a lot of things I do. I usually game on when I'm streaming. I do things like play Apex Legends, Dead by Daylight, all kinds of different things. Pokemon. Trying to get more into fighting games because I used to love being into fighting games when I was a kid, but now I'm trying to get back into that. And the next big plan that I have coming up is that I'm going to be launching another podcast along with every other freaking podcast I do. I'm going to be launching a specific podcast for my streaming where I focus on LGBT content as well as gaming content, where that way I can make sure that gaming is an inclusive space. So that's the goal with that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. If y'all want to know where I can follow PandaThePaladin, I'll put the link in there with the guest command. You can also find him on Twitter with guest Twitter and a guest Insta to find him on Instagram as well. I just wanted to make sure we show that support back to you for coming on online with us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. And before we get into the questions, I wanted to make sure I put some clear rules and some clear reasons for being here out. So I'll make sure they're verbatim. I always do this at the beginning of a session. So what's the focus of this conversation specifically is to provide more insight into what streaming on the site and being openly part of the LGBTQIA plus community is like, and look at the possible intersections between Twitch and sexuality, right? So that's the basic focus of this conversation. Some rules are I don't want to have anybody feel comfortable answering the question. So at any time you change your decision on a question and you feel uncomfortable, you can just feel safe to next it and be like, no, next question or what's the next question, or I don't feel like answering right now. Anything like that is perfectly fine. Second rule, do not downplay shit on others and their stories. So that's anybody in the chat. That's me. That's you. Don't downplay anybody else's stories or experiences. Another rule we have is be yourself. Don't impress or flex for anybody. So everybody is free to be yourself. Just nobody coming in here who should be trying to put on or shame anybody else for who or what they are. And don't have shame in plugging yourself. It's probably the fun rule that I have there, because feel free to plug yourself. There's nothing wrong in just putting your own thing up and trying to get yourself out there. And again, those commands are guest Insta, guest Twitter.
Okay.
So yeah. Awesome.
I'm just here to have a good time, man. I don't gotta plug a million and one things. I'm here to have a good time and add more to the conversation. That's what I love doing. So
cool.
I'm glad that you invited me here, man.
No problem. No problem. I'm glad that I can have people on that want to come on and that I can have this conversation with. And without further ado, I think it's time to get into the first question. You cool with that?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. Okay. So the first question is, I want to know, as somebody coming in here for the first time on one of the live sessions, what do you want to get out of this conversation? What are some things you want to get?
So, ever since I entered the, like, not even streaming, but ever since I've become more of a public voice in gaming, comics, nerd stuff, whatever, it has become a thing of mine to not only make sure Black voices are elevated in every conversation, but to make sure that LGBT voices are as well. Is that you have constantly an issue of not only gaming being normalized beyond just like basketball for us, where like every motherfucker thinks we're just playing 2K and don't care about anything else. Like we like anime, we like this and that. Like we have other interests besides sports, so we're not just stereotypical Black folks just playing sports games and nothing else. Like there's that joke of, oh, gaming was normalized when Drake played Fortnite with Ninja. Like I hate that, but it's true. It's sad but true. We have normalized gaming for a lot of people, and it sucks. But in reality, like we had always been here even before that. So like, because you got brothers like the dudes at Gaming Illuminati who have paved the way for us.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing big shit like that for a long time. But in terms of LGBT voices, there isn't a lot of it. I know I'm like the main G of LGBTQIA, but in general, like that isn't enough. There has to be a platform for anybody who is trans, for anybody who is gay or bi, or anybody like, because like the fact that we are allowed to have like drag queens and shit on this platform now. Like one of my stream team partners is a drag queen, and I love playing Dead by Daylight with her because she just goes off the rails and it's hilarious. So I think now that we have normalized gaming to a high degree that like we can have gaming tattoos, like this is from Dishonored for anybody who doesn't know that. Like we have adapted to a better society, and I appreciate that. So I think the most important thing to me is to elevate that normalcy of having Black voices and LGBT voices in the forefront.
Yeah, because if you look at the top streamers on the site, you got who, I'm not to name any names because that can change all the time, but currently you do see white, cis male, cisgendered, and like heterosexual men, right? So you're not seeing that diversity, at least with the top people performing on Twitch, right? So I definitely see where you're coming from.
Let's go. You. Let me pull it up while we're talking. Fair enough. So for a long time, it was hard for me to come out. And I know like we'll get into everything as it goes on in the conversation. But like when I first came out, I just labeled myself as a bisexual because I hated the idea of being seen as not being attracted to women, because my brother and my dad were known as the players, the dudes who could get 1,000,001 girls and whatnot. And like Black folks normalized the idea that brothers be players and whatnot. And that was never me. I was the very like love centric, caring, like soft kid that people would make fun of and whatnot. I was the mixed kid that everyone like didn't take seriously. So for me, it became a thing of trying to be myself and be open with myself. But for a long time, I was caught between a rock and a hard place because my uncle was gay. He struggled with who he was for a long time to the point that he died alone. He hated that our family constantly would like call him a fairy and all this other nonsense. Like he died of HIV like years and years like later after like medicine had even gotten better, but he still died of it years later. And he was the biggest dude I knew. Like he had the softest voice, but he could knock the hell out you. Like he built himself to protect himself because our culture, like not even like what cis white het people that will come after us, but our own culture will come after us, and it sucks because you don't expect that shit. So for me, it became a thing of trying to protect myself because there was a while where I just went back into the closet. I wouldn't even say I was bi, but then I got to a point where I couldn't deny myself any longer. It was at one point where like you had that Lucius Lyon from Empire problem with my dad, where like he hated the idea of having no legacy, but then after a while, it got to a point where he just didn't care anymore. He was like, "Look, man, be yourself. I don't care." And like he's one of them old Negro types that'll still make the jokes and shit, so you got to just shrug it off. But I've reached a point where identifying with like occasionally I'll even identify with feminine pronouns, but I'm not transgender, but like because I know that I do want to look into doing drag at some point because it's comfortable for me in expressing femininity. Because 9 times out of 10, I look like this big dude that will square up, but I was known as the gentle giant as a kid. So at that point, it becomes trying to be myself while also existing in spaces that we have right now, like elections in a couple days, and we're looking pretty scared right now. Oh, of course, agendas evolve. Mhm. Mhm. It was hard because my dad would be constantly pressuring me. My mom was very stereotypical Republican person who would be like trying to slap me with the Bible and shit like that, and it was rough. But once I finally became the black sheep of the family and just moved across the state and away from all of it, it became normal for me to accept myself, especially when I started like, and keep in mind, I'm in Troy, Ohio. Like, this isn't the most progressive city in the world, but it has become easier for me to find people that I can talk with. But there's still the issue of the down low culture that I've coined it, where like everybody and their mama wants to be on the DL because either they're not getting the females they want or they're not comfortable coming out. So it leaves this gray area where you're not fully comfortable coming out. But once I had people around me online and my friends in real life that I could talk to and be comfortable, it made it easier to come out. Mhm. Most definitely. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. So when I first started streaming back in February, and like my analytics looked fucking weird because I would watch streams before I started streaming. But when I started streaming in February, I was immediately cherry picked from a couple of Facebook groups by people who wanted to use me for clout. as in they saw that I was black and gay, and yes, I was small, but they wanted to like put me in these secret discords and help me match up with bigger streamers. That way I could get affiliate faster and whatnot. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable with that. And they're like, why? Don't you want to get big? Yeah, but you're trying to use me because of me being gay and because of me being black. You see the issues with police brutality and you're trying to cover your own ass. And you're trying to make sure that you have that black friend in your corner. And I'm not okay with that. And there was still the people who helped me get affiliate that were real and actually cared about watching my content. But because it's like I was streaming Dead by Daylight constantly, I was kicking ass with friends, and I found out even later that my friends were also doing the same thing, using me for clout to the point that I told them to F off. And I streamed by myself or didn't even stream at all for a while because of COVID and depression and all this other shit. And when I finally came back, I found an LGBT stream team that had my back. It was real. They cared about me. But in the past, like 8-9 months since I started streaming, I've only had like maybe 3 bad times where being out was a problem. And like it was like I had a couple people that came through my chat like, you're going to hell and shit. And my response was, how the fuck do you know? Like, like there's the old joke that Eddie Griffin used to make on his comedy specials where it's like, did God come down and tell you, hey, let that nigga know he going to hell? No.
Like send a message, right.
Yeah, it's like that's not how that works. Like you coming in my chat and saying that means the same thing as me being gay. So get off your high horse. And it leaves me in this like frustrated area where I don't understand what makes you feel as if you have to do that. But and what was crazy was it got to a point where I was like 2 weeks ago where I was like, yo, I've gotten like 3 homophobic attacks in my streams, but I've never gotten a racist one. And that day on stream, it happened. It literally happened where someone came through and was like, hey, you want to hear a joke? You're black. And we banned it. And I'm like, really? Like, it's just almost like I spoke it into existence. Like, how did that happen? But it's I know as I get bigger, it's gonna become more of a problem. But I know right now that it's more normalized, I guess. Like, it's not like it was a few years ago where I would probably have 1,000,001 death threats like on the daily. But right now, I think we're at a comfortable point where it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I feel you on speaking to the resistance part, because when you're thinking about things, you're like you get super attentive to everything that happens in that situation. And as part of being openly gay, do you think like somebody should even have to announce that? Because people are free to do whichever way they want to perform and advertise on their streams, etc. Do you feel like people, when they're part of that community, have to be openly and put that on their streams, or do you feel like that shouldn't even be a necessity because we should be accepting no matter what? Like, what's your take on that?
See, it's weird because like it's a half and half thing because like, for instance, one of the leaders of my stream team, his literal Twitch, Facebook, and Trovo name is Gay Dream Streams. He puts it flat out on his stuff. That way, if people want to attack LGBTQIA people, they can go to him. He doesn't care. He welcomes the attack. That way, other people don't have to deal with it. But then you'll see people like me who just have one emote with a rainbow behind it, but I'm very open about it in my chat, in my stream. I don't care. Like, you're going to know at some point if I flirt with the guy that I'm playing with, or if someone's flirting in my chat with me. If someone new comes in, they're going to know. But in terms of everything, I think it's more safe to say that, like, it's up to you. Because everybody's path is their own journey. You might not be out. You might be out. You might not want to publicize your shit. But I would say, at the very least, I've gotten questions about like my flags behind me. And I've had to like move one flag because like it's more like BDSM and other types of stuff. Like it's a pup play flag. But in general, I've had to move that one because of people being shitty. But those two are the ones that matter most to me because it's who I am fully. It's who I am when it comes to my culture. and that's why I specifically got the one with the black and brown colors on it, because I'm also black. I can't hide that. It's who I am. I might be light skinned, but it's who I am, and I don't care if anyone knows that. And if someone wants to come attack me, I've gotten very lucky and had not had many people coming into attacking me. But thankfully, I haven't had to stress that. But I've seen people attack trans streamers that I know. I've seen people attack me and my other drag queen friend on stream before. It was the same person back to back in 2 different days. And it bothers me because, like, you are wasting your primary energy to making a fake account. And the person made 2. They made 2 fake accounts, popped up in both of our streams with both accounts, and we're cussing up a storm and shit, saying we're going to go hell. And it's like, what do you gain from that? Like, I don't understand what you gain from that other than just putting negative energy out. So it's weird. But in terms of it, I will always say it's your journey,
right? And
if you feel comfortable being out in the public eye, that, like, good for you. But if it's not your way, yeah, it's not your way. Like, I know, like, one of my streamer friends doesn't even speak on mic because they're trans, but they don't have the means to start taking hormone therapy, and that they live in a non-healthy environment, so they can't be open about who they are, but they still have a good time playing games. That's what matters. So I speak for everybody when it comes to it's your path, you walk it.
I think people in the community really respect that and are super. That's a super endearing way to approach that, and I think that I really want to. You handled the next question I was going to ask you, which was what are some times that sexuality and streaming was put in the forefront, and like whether it's like somebody being aggressive in the chat, which you just mentioned. Are there any other times like that you want to talk about and like think about, like how did you handle those, or give advice to other people, like how did you handle these situations?
My best thing that there was only one time where it was a problem where it like messed up a stream, which was the black one, where like dude was like, "Oh, you want to hear a joke? You're black," and it was like I saw it and didn't expect it because I spoke like I said, I spoke it into existence that day. Like I was like, "Yo, I don't think that I've ever had a black like a racist person come through my stream yet." And it kind of had me at a point where like, oh yeah, whatever, it's fine.
The award for best rap album of the year in
and
2008 for the Carter 3.
I don't know.
Mr. Carter, you have to wait until the attorney is finished asking the question,
usually
please.
my camera's over here, and TV, big old TV's like it's like a 40-something inch right here, and I will look at my laptop because all I have for streaming is my webcam, my capture card, and my laptop, and my microphone, and I will pan back and forth to look at the chat, and I saw it, and I wasn't looking at the stream. I ended up getting downed and killed because I was just so struck by the idea that someone said that shit the day I spoke it into existence. And I know, like, saying, yo, just try to shrug it off is really hard because you see that shit and you're like, I don't know what to do. And like, thankfully, one of the leaders of my stream team was modding for me that day, and she caught it and it was gone. Like, I didn't have to worry about it like for like a couple of seconds, but it just had me in such a wave of negativity the rest of my stream where I didn't know how to cope with it. Like, the idea that somebody like wasted their time to come through my shit and say that just had me on a whole other level of pissed off.
I can imagine.
Yeah, no. So it's like I would say at the very least expect it. Like don't ever like act like it'll never happen to you because honey, it's gonna happen. You gotta just because we live in a world where motherfuckers are arguing about masks. Like we have a world where like really like we have a world where motherfuckers are like I kid you not. This past Thursday I went to vote. Crazy old man got thrown out the courthouse where they were doing voting at because he didn't want to have a mask on, and I was dumbfounded. Like, really, dog? Really? But then you see, we still have trans black women that are constantly being murdered because they're trans. Like, our own people are constantly dying, and there's no way to not be fearful of that shit.
Right.
But so you have to at least expect it. But at the same time, I keep keep trying to figure out where I should put my camera on my laptop so I can look at you. But it's whatever.
It's fine.
But no, it's one of those things where it's like you gotta do your best to move forward with it. Like, I know it's cliche as fuck, but that line that Pop says in Luke Cage, where it's like, always move forward with it. Don't let it affect you the entire stream if you can. Like, if it affects you the whole stream, it happens. Like, put it out in the game if you have to, because it doesn't matter if you're playing Stardew Valley, Apex, whatever the hell. Like, you're knitting, you're doing art. Like, because the Twitch is for everybody at this point. It doesn't matter what the hell you're doing. Music. Well, they're getting rid of Twitch things, but like someone's gonna find a way to bring it back.
That's true.
But in terms of what you do, just try to put the energy you're feeling into what you're doing, and try to move past it. So expect it, absorb it, and try to move past it.
And that's good advice for people who are just getting started or have been starting or have been going for a while and are part of the community already. And I think Becca Gaming is in the chat. Said what's up. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
She's here, yeah. So I agree with that, and I think that it's very hard to tell people like, oh, you have to shrug it off. But to be honest, if you get to that higher level and you're getting bombarded with these things, and you pay attention to each one of them, that's gonna consume your time. And honestly, learning to be getting that shell and shrugging off those comments is an adaptive process that I think people have to go through. More so if you're in these communities, right? And I want to touch on because as soon as you mentioned that you had a trans friend, your trans friend has to deal with constant like either an unsafe environment or have to deal with things like people in the chat coming through. I wanted to jump to another question, which was recently, and this year, so maybe not like this recent as like this month, but recently a part of Twitch's new initiatives hired M2F, and that means a male to female trans woman who received a lot of heat for both things she said on her identity, both things she said like in the past and on her identity. So both of those things, right? What are your thoughts on that situation? And how does this impact you as a streamer?
Do you know what she had said? Because I didn't know this was.
Yeah. So as far as the thing that the famous clip that was going around was that in-game voice chat should be like not a thing anymore. So competitive voice chat in games should not exist. So while people were trying to argue the legitimacy of that, there were people who are just not, they didn't even know about that. They were simply going at her for who she was and her identity. Okay. So there are two sides of that.
Let's hit both sides. So let's start with the important one, which is the trans issue. So if we visit it from the angle of like, say, affirmative action, because we've dealt with that shit time and time again. If they sought her out because she was trans, that's a little messed up on their part, because we're constantly seeing cishet white people act as if they know what's best for us, if that makes sense. Like, granted, we're constantly fighting to find our placement, find our existence, and make our own platforms, because no one will give us the opportunities. So while I will say it is bad on the part of the higher ups for purposely seeking her out just because she is trans, is a little bit blurry in that spectrum. I'm not gonna say it's bad, because like, it's always good. Hey, you're educating yourself and you're trying to get someone in a better place of existence. Right. But I would say good on her for taking the position and not like just letting it affect her. Like, she didn't walk in and be like, "Yo, I hate that I'm a diversity hire." She's more than likely doing her best to make the best of the situation. That's what I would hope at the very least. She's making the best of the situation of being a diversity hire, because it happens all the damn time. Like, you will see us get hired because we're black, or people get hired because they're gay to boost numbers. But we'll go in there and we'll kick up a storm. We'll do the best we can of the job and prove that we're not just a diversity hire. We matter more than that. So I would say, on y'all trying to make her a diversity hire, but hopefully she's making the best of it. I'm gonna say that. But also, the reason why I'm saying it's a blurry / slippery slope, because I'm not fully in that community. I'm not gonna speak on their behalf, but from my perspective, good on her for making the best of the situation. In terms of the game chat thing, if it is a situation like Apex, where Apex has one of the best ping systems in gaming, I would say I would not mind game chat not existing. Now, if every platform like Sony, Nintendo, Xbox, whatever, what have you, allowed Discord to fully immerse itself into their platforms, and people could make their own game chats and trust their own friends to have that game chat, because game chat can be something that can be vital for streamers and gamers when it comes to competitiveness. Because, for instance, Apex Ranked, if I can't communicate with you, it'll be hard. Now, I'm not going to say I haven't won platinum games with people just using the ping system, because it's happened. I've won those games. But in terms of, I would rather have someone on mic with me. That way they can go, hey, Bloodhound over here, Wraith over here, yada yada. Like, this person picked up a gold weapon, whatever the hell. Like, I would rather have that level of communication than be in a system where it's not there. So if developers are going to enter a system where there is no game chat for the safety of others, because let's be real here, and you and I remember the days where you had white boys on Call of Duty calling us the N-word every 5 minutes. You had people shouting the F-word at every 5 minutes. Yep. We know how slippery of a slope is. You have girl gamers who are constantly mistreated. You have trans gamers that are constantly being mistreated. And like there's whole YouTube and TikTok compilations of people being mistreated in gaming. So I'm not going to say there's not legitimacy to the argument that game chat is a problem. I think companies like Overwatch have over-policed it to the point that it's a problem, that you're trying to fight the problem with the problem. But I think if we all move to a point where you take a page of Respawn's book and have a ping system that is the best it can be for your game, it's less of an issue. Like if you just turn your mic off, or if there's no voice system whatsoever. That's what I'm gonna say to that.
Yeah, I think you said it beautifully, because the context behind when she said that was she was saying that if there's a girl and she joins the game versus a guy when he joins the game and he makes a call like, oh, go to point C. If she says go to point C, she's getting comments simply because she's a woman, and you can hear that she's a woman, or you can maybe there's a different tone of voice, and so they assume off of that and just attack somebody. So I think that's more of the angle, and that's exactly what you want to. So yeah. I think there are definitely in more competitive things, and just like you said with the ping system, there are ways you can communicate without it. There are critical points that you do need voice, so there's different sides of it. But overall, we should consider are highly competitive, but always consider the average user, because I remember when we were kids, we were getting called the N-word and all this stuff. So you have to consider all of that, which is a lot, which is why there still hasn't been a definite answer yet. It's a very complicated issue. Just on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you are able to develop your own community and have, like, because there'll be days where I'll be on, like, PSN chat with people, or I'll be on Discord chat. I would rather have Discord chat, like, overtake gaming, or other platforms like Discord, like, if TeamSpeak got their shit together, or stuff like that, where you cultivate your own talking system. That way you're on mic, you can communicate and stuff like that. Now, like, I will say, in the case of something like Apex, there are little kids and people and tryhards that abuse the ping system, where they're like, and it's
spamming,
like, shut up,
getting
like,
on your
I'll
nerves.
be there in a second. But, like, I think if we can cultivate a system where people are able to use a ping system that they're comfortable with, like, because Fortnite's gotten a little bit better about it. One of my favorite games is Hunt Showdown, because Crystal Dynamics made it so their ping system rotates by the repetition of like what each repetitive click of the button means, like almost like it's cycling through a wheel as you press it. So that's kind of like an idea similar to Apex. So, and even Fortnite will allow you to change what your ping is. Like, either you hold the ping button or you double click it to say enemies there. So we've gotten better about it, but like, yeah, it's still hard for some people to deal with voice chat because of it's a slippery motherfucking slope.
Yeah. Becca said in the chat is that it really tries to block that out of the memory, and that's why they also mainly play zombies mode in COD. Oh man, I started only playing zombies because I think that the multiplayer is kind of trash. But that's my reason. But I think that's a very valid reason just to do zombies.
Well, because like I don't like and like people on my stream team and people will like hop through my chat and be like, "Why don't you play Overwatch or why don't you play Call of Duty?"
Mm-hmm.
I used to be competitive in Overwatch. I was a Winston and a Lucio main. I would be the tank that people needed. I would run through that shit, but people would constantly call me the N-word, and I got sick of it. And like it was PTSD from playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where every little redneck little kid wanted to cuss up a storm and say this and yada yada, and it just. I would rather have games where I can play and not have that environment. So Becca's totally right that you move to other games, or I've seen people just leave gaming in general.
100%, yeah.
Like people will pop off. Like I know there's a lot of people who have left things like Magic the Gathering because there are YouTubers and shit who have said that like women or like they actually said colored people, and I was like, are you serious, dude? Like people of color shouldn't be in Magic or D&D or yada yada, because there was the whole thing with D&D recently where because of BLM having the push it had in pop culture, they said they were going to eliminate negative traits in races because like orcs and dark elves could be seen as black people and shit. And like white dudes were throwing a fit like, oh, we're just using the races that are in our story, man. And why can't you just do what we want? It's like you can do what you want. It's D&D. It's called homebrewing, motherfucker. Deal with it. Like people already changed the game as it is, but Wizards of the Coast was like, hey, we're going to normalize every race being on a safe and normal platform. Just because you think we're snowflakes doesn't mean it's like that. So it's in every facet of gaming, whether it be video games or tabletop games, card games, whatever, there's still racism being, or even sexism or transphobia, whatever, what have you, being in there. And just on the same level of voice chat, I think whatever you can do to make a safe environment, do it. I would rather have a ping system than nothing at all. That's what I'm saying.
Man. Thanks for providing I didn't even know they were doing that in Dungeons and Dragons, man. So you just educated me a little bit.
Like it's ridiculous.
Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. Listen, when you're going and you're talking to people in the community, and like through all of your journeys on Twitch, and do you mind saying how long you've been streaming?
Yeah, I've been streaming since February. I'm still very new to it, but thankfully I was able to hit affiliate really quickly because I had people that wanted to watch and support me and shit. That's
super, super dope. And congratulations on hitting an affiliate. I know it can be a long journey or it can be a really short journey. It depends on, a lot of things. Okay. And how many has you being open on Twitch and your sexuality provided any opportunities for self-growth or introspection for like whether it's networking or just in your own room thinking, anything like that?
I think when it comes to me being more open about things, because you and I both know that like having to run the hustle and do PR and stuff like that has led us to like going through Facebooks and Instagrams and Twitters and like messaging people or going in Facebook groups and putting yourself out there. I think one of the best things I did was be more open about who I am, because it let me go into LGBT circles and like gamer like GAYMER like gamer groups and be open about who I am and care about that kind of shit and not have to worry about people judging me. And like there will be guys that come through my stream and like in flirting with me and like calling me handsome and shit. I'm like, and it's nice. It's less negative than probably what a lot of girls have to deal with, because that shit can be rough when dudes are coming through your stream and sipping for you and shit.
Right.
But it's nice knowing that I can be open about who I am and not have to stress about it. But I know there's going to come a point where it'll have a negative connotation at some points. So it's risky, but I do my best to be open about it and hope for the best. So in terms of introspection, I think the best thing I could have done was be more open about it. But I do worry how things would have been if I just rode the wave of being black and just cashed in on the BLM check when it was hot. But I don't think I would have been true to myself if I'd have did that. Like, just being who I am mattered more to me.
Totally respect that. I totally respect that. And when you say you're, what I heard is that in terms of like introspection and you're thinking about different parts of you, again, you could have rode the BLM wave. There are different parts of you that you can always choose to express. Just like earlier, you said people don't have to show that they're openly gay, but if they want to, they can. When you have so many parts of your identity that are being challenged, such as being part of the LGBTQIA community and being black, both of those aren't inherently you. You have to choose. You have to make that choice. Like, okay, how do I express myself? When do I express myself? And all those different choices. For people who aren't. Oh wait, I have a comment from Becca Gaming. Besides from one person, I haven't had to deal with transphobia. Like, bitch, just let me be myself. I ain't hurting no one. That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's like, and that's the constant we deal with. Like, you have all these crazy ass Trump folks that are like, they're trying to like act like you can't exist, like, oh, like you're a problem to them, but in reality, they're not comfortable with themselves. Like, if I had $1 for as many homophobes that I've met who are just closeted gay people who aren't comfortable with their own skin yet, I'd be friggin' rich. Like, it shows when you're insecure with yourself when you're attacking people. Like, I used to do the same shit. Like, there was a point where I was studying to go to school to be a youth pastor, and I thought being gay was the worst thing I could possibly be. I got engaged. Like, I was doing all this other shit. But in reality, it wasn't who I was. And I understand that mindset of trying to hide who you are to the point you're attacking the people that you are. And it can be rough, but as long as you're true to yourself, like, there's the constant thing of like, yo, me being who I am is like it's gonna be a bumpy road in the future, but I would rather have 3, 4, 5 viewers or 0 viewers some days to like being fake and just riding popularity waves.
Man,
like,
yes.
Everyone's like, play Among Us,
Yeah.
play Among Us. I'm like, no, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't care. Like good for you if you play Among Us or Fortnite. Like, I play Fortnite off stream because I don't like the aspect of having that around me. Or if you want to play Genshin Impact or ride like popularity waves, good for you. I play the games that I want to play. Like, I started doing Finish Fridays where I started going through games in my backlog. I gotta change it soon. But like single player games. I'm gonna call it like Player One Panda or some shit. I gotta like spitball a little bit. But like the idea of playing single player games because they're not appreciated anymore. Like, we had, like, when God of War came out recently, it was a breath of fresh air to the gaming market because we have gotten so like absorbed in what Jim Sterling calls live services because EA, Activision, and what have you have made these live service games like Apex and Fortnite and all this other shit to keep us invested in buying their content. And it's like, yeah, I'm an Apex sweat. I do my grind. I don't care. But I would still rather play a game like Doom Eternal or Jedi Fallen Order or Outer Worlds or anything like that because I get a full experience. So I would rather play those kind of games than just ride popularity waves.
And you wouldn't believe. Becca said I played Genshin a few times. I fucking hated it. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I know there's a couple people on my stream team like Blades and people that love Genshin Impact. Good for you, Home Slice. But that shit is a gotcha lottery game mixed in with a knockoff Sword Art Online. Everyone's like, "Yo, it looks like Breath of the Wild. It's so pretty." I'm like, honey, you realize you can go off on a mission and watch something prettier for $7, right? Sword Art Online is right there. It's got some pretty good characters. I think you'll be fine. That's what I tell people. Like, it's the same fucking shit. It's the same like knockoff. Like if I had I literally get so many like fake ass JRPG commercials on YouTube half the fucking time, where it's like, yo, play this app game. We got like these pretty like weeaboo bitches and shit that you can like stare at their anime titties and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't want this. Go away. Like, it's stupid. And like, I'm not saying you're stupid for playing Genshin Impact because Genshin Impact does like a pretty good game. Like, props to the developers of that game because they're probably good people. But I would rather play a fulfilling experience like Apex where I'm growing in rank and I'm playing with players and having a good time, or I'd rather play Doom Eternal where I'm tearing demons limb from limb. And I will never say that a phone game can be not enjoyable, because if you play Candy Crush or whatever the fuck, you're a gamer. I'm not gonna gatekeep. Fuck that. Gatekeeping is stupid. But in terms of Genshin feels like it's trying to be Konami ripping you off with a friggin' lottery machine. And I don't like it.
All right, and I think that the game market is really changing right now. Fortnite completely 180 the game market. Everything's battle royale. Everything's people realize that people are willing to pay this much this often for content like this, spitting out the same thing. Becca says I'm openly trans and pan. Even more, I hope you're getting even more value from this then, because hopefully these are topics you relate to.
And I was just watching this YouTuber did a retrospective on Fortnite's rise and fall, because apparently Fortnite's numbers are falling or some shit. And I was just blown away by that. But I protested playing Fortnite for a long time. Like, it took me till Aquaman came out to being like, fine, I will fucking play it because I'm an Aquaman fan. Like, I'm reading Aquaman comics since I was a kid.
For the Marvel, right.
I've been just getting them because I was broken. I couldn't get the Battle Pass. But I played the DLC and everything. And it was fun, but there's a moth in my room. I hate it. But probably having an air conditioner in the hood. But
we can literally have an intermission so you can kill the moth. I totally.
It's fine. It's
okay,
fine.
okay. I'm fine with that.
It'll die in the lamp in a minute anyway.
Okay.
But in terms of everything, like, I think gaming is evolving to a point where there is such a diversity in the market, and that's great. I love that. But there's some games that are obviously a ripoff, and people don't understand that.
There are a lot of games
Fortnite,
that are ripoffs.
it has great intentions. It's a great game.
100%, yeah.
Made by, but there's something like the situation what happened with Paragon, where Paragon was an amazing game. Everyone who played it loved it, but Epic Games shut it down because they wanted to pump more money and development power into Fortnite. That's not okay. We shouldn't be destroying other games just because another game's popular. Or in the case of Genshin or Among Us, these games are coming out that are going to die in a few months when people get bored. Like, you see everyone being astronauts for Halloween because of Among Us, and it's like, you're not going to care about the game in T-minus like a month. And that sucks because those developers worked hard on that game. So it's a catch-22.
Yeah, I think that when you have a super product, I think Fortnite isn't just a product; it's a super product. When you have something like that, it's good for you, but you have to look around what's going on to the culture. Why is everybody else coming out with battle royales? Why is everybody else coming out with everything's super family friendly now in order to get more cash flow? There's a lot of things going on in that matrix. Becca says, "I don't know if Panda told you about me. I'm a good friend." Oh, okay. I do stream. Then feel free to plug yourself. That was my fifth and most fun rule. So feel free to plug yourself. Yeah. I really, really appreciate you providing insight on the gaming community, because I think that's a huge. When I'm watching streamers, they're like, I don't know what to play, because most of the games are the same, or they're not the same, and they got boring after a while. It's a huge thing that people have to deal with, especially on streaming.
Oh, you know, like I have a whole freaking I suck at taking care of my discs, but I have SpongeBob Rehydrated. I have Destiny 2. I have all these other games that I play because I love playing them. But I will never be shy of sending criticism toward the developer for being stupid. Like, when I was protesting Fortnite, I was very firm about not only is this unhealthy that we are stealing dances from people like Marlon Webb and Alfonso Ribeiro, but now they've gotten to a point where the guy who made the Crow, the Flow, the Yo, that thing on TikTok, he got a big check from that shit, and good for him. They're actually they've evolved their system and have made themselves better. But in reality, I still think that Fortnite has a long way to go if they're going to move from the stigma of little children bullying each other over having default skins.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And so Fortnite has a long way to go, even though it's one of the biggest games still. Even though it's dropped off, but Minecraft has climbed back up. Like it's a whole other world now that we live in, where gaming has influenced so much of our culture.
100%, 100%. And I want to translate to what's gonna happen on Tuesday, which is the elections, which was mentioned earlier. I'm not here to persuade anybody. I'm here to talk. Like just like I'm not here to persuade anybody. That's me. I'm not here to try and force anybody's vote or vote for this person, vote for that person. But I definitely want to hear about your opinions on like as far as things like the LGBTQ community and this upcoming election.
Ooh.
What are you focused on as part of the community coming up?
That's a hell of a question you just put there.
Mm-hmm.
I am concerned by a lot of things. I think if we have 4 more years of Trump, that he is going to do everything in his power to eradicate gay marriage because of the fact that he knows it was something that Obama created. He now has a majority in the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
While Amy Coney Barrett can say up and down that oh I won't do that, man, like shut up, the first person who tries, you're gonna listen to him, and it's going to create this uphill battle of appeals and nonsense that is going to be problems for a long time. But I think if we come I feel as though if Trump gets reelected, we'll have to fucking deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have seen such a large number of people come out and vote this year, that we might have a chance to change things. And I know there's some people who are like, I want to vote with the person who's in the Green Party, like, because I don't like Biden. I will never tell somebody that you are invalid for not wanting to vote for Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. That does not mean you have to vote for Donald Trump. Like, granted, the majority is going to be either Democrat or Republican, but at the same time, I would rather you not vote or at least attempt to vote for the Green Party to legitimize it than throw a vote in with someone you don't trust or want. Because I voted for Joe Biden. I'm not going to say I didn't. I did. Because I know in my heart that Joe Biden is not going to last very long in health. And there is a good chance that Kamala Harris could be the first black woman president. There's a good chance. So I feel as if we have a chance to survive under a new regime that can actually be of benefit to us, I'm going to go that direction. So if you don't feel comfortable voting for Biden, you're valid. That's fine. Don't give your vote to Trump, because Trump doesn't care about gays. I know that there's like the gays for Trump. Honey, you drank the Kool-Aid. You out your goddamn mind if you think he is going to anything for you. He does not care. I'm sorry. Whoever hurts you you need to tell them to fuck off, because it is a lie. So Donald Trump literally told his supporters that he was going to be in one state. They bust a bunch of people somewhere, and he lied and didn't go there. And now people are sick or dying of hypothermia. So I think that's a sign right there of what's going on. Like, you need to wake up and move the hell on from this man's.
Yeah, and it's crazy because this is like no other election before. No, it's definitely not any of the recent elections, because this is like hyper polarized. Either you love or hate. There's no middle. There's no. I kind of see where both are coming from. They're on such opposite sides that that you're getting this fanatic phenomenon where you're having people who are fanatics mostly on the Republican side showing out like almost like not an active support for Trump, but an active power. How much power they have under Trump, and it's that's there's a difference between like showing how much support you have, so how much power you have via your support for somebody. And my dad is, like I said, my dad is 110% a Trump supporter.
It's depressing.
It can be depressing for some people, because if you have conflicting views, I can imagine if you're in a household with them or they are your family, you're almost forced to deal with these things, because you're not gonna. Even if anybody gets elected, it's 8 years max, and then they're out. So you're not gonna cut off a family member.
I mean,
for 8 years.
He's swearing up and down that he could go for a third term, but that's not gonna fucking happen. He can shut up about it all he wants. Like, we have gotten to a point where people are gonna keep being who they are, and like there's some people who are like, oh, if Trump doesn't get elected, we're gonna like cause another civil war. Like
a lot of that.
No, shut up. You're stupid. Who cares? Like it's just, you're right. It is very fanatical. People are battling with each other over this shit. Like the fact that like the minute anybody's existence is called into a question, whether you be LGBTQIA, whether you be Black, Hispanic, like what have you, if your life is like put into question because of an elected official, that's a problem. They need to go. That's just facts. Like, and the fact that we're debating this shows that we're a fucked up society.
Yeah, I mean, to be okay, there's a fact. The current government is debating health versus economics, like money versus health versus the people's health. Yeah. That's a fact, and that's like undeniable. And that's my word to keep it very plain and simple. And if you want that to keep happening, your life or your money, I mean, you can make that. You're free to vote if you're of age and of America. Citizenship of American citizenship.
You're free to vote. You are like, that's the one nice thing about this country and its laws is that you are free to vote for whoever the fuck you want. But I think if you're putting a vote towards someone who is doing the things that Trump has done, then you're out of your, you're freaking losing your mind, dude.
Yeah, a lot of things are going on with that. So that's gonna happen on Tuesday, and I recommend everybody, if you haven't voted yet, Tuesday today. Make sure you're all set. Register to vote. I think that the window might be over, but please go do it. Just make sure.
Yeah, like no, even for my next year, because like I know that people. Like, I remember when I was in school, people would be like, "Well, there's only an election for every 4 years." No, there's not. There's an election every year. People campaign every year, whether it be delegates in your county, your city, your state. People have to vote every year. You can influence the government every year. It doesn't matter. So if you have the opportunity to vote or register to vote, you should, because your life is in the balance right there.
That's a serious situation, because it used to just be politics and small changes in government or things mostly to do with corporate and things like that. But recently it's getting into, okay, well, this is putting things like human rights on the line, human lives on the line, especially with this COVID crisis, right? So that's just your political opinion. It's getting into more of your morality. It has to be messed up in order to vote for or support this candidate. Somebody says, my dad keeps telling us, if we don't win, we might as well go jump off of a bridge. That's super extreme, and hopefully that's not like a true thought, and it was like
I mean, some people be like that sometimes.
I guess some people are like that.
Doing suicide attacks over like not getting Trump in. Like people are that stressed out about the idea that they could live in another democratic society, and it's like, are you that dumb, dog? Like,
seriously,
is it like that?
It's crazy how much people have this energy and this support for somebody who they've never met, who has a certain set of moral characteristics, who has not anything like the same feelings or ambitions towards them, but still echo that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And Divine came by and said that's rough. It is super rough to have these choices to be made, especially and when we're talking about the LGBTQ community, right? There are certain people on Twitch who are not only just like not putting themselves on the forefront, like having #gamer with a Y on their streams, they're like hiding it, and there's a point of like they're super, as what you call, down low. They're not open to talking about it at all. What is your advice or like your talking points for them on the platform, or maybe even if they don't stream, what's your advice to them?
I mean, I talked about this earlier when you asked about like earlier, and it's like,
yep.
It's the same double-sided coin of you're not invalid for hiding who you are because of how society is. I'm never going to tell you you're invalid for that. Like, we live in a society where people are constantly killed for being trans. You have a society where people are constantly attacked for being gay or bi or what have you. Like I know women that deal with being a lesbian that are attacked literally on the daily for who they are. Like, that's a struggle for them. So the fact that that you feel the need to hide that, I don't blame you, but there's still a support network for you if you choose to come out. If you are a streamer and you want to come out, I'm always open. I will talk to you. My stream team will talk to you. We are here for people to be open and be out there and not be afraid of anybody. Like the minute like a few people were trying to come through everybody's streams and attack them, we flat out said, "Yo, we're going to this person's stream, showing them love, dropping bits, doing the 9." Like people came through my stream and were like dropping bits and helping me when people were being homophobic. I was like, that's freaking awesome. That's what we should be doing. That's what we should be caring about people and making sure they feel comfortable being who they are. And I will never tell somebody they have to hide who they are. If you feel the need to do that, that's fine. I'm never going to tell you you're wrong for that. But if you want to come out, you have a place, and I will be there for you.
Speaking of that support, it's great that your team took the initiative to do that, because I rarely know people who go on nevertheless a solo effort, but a group effort to go out and almost rectify these things that have been done to random people on the internet, right? And that's kindness that is rarely seen nowadays. What do you think? Speaking on the topic of support, you talked about what people in Apex Legends can do, or what their developers can do with pings, and what they've done already. What can Twitch do? I know that their recent mod ferociously theft was one of the solutions. What do you think another possible solution that Twitch can have in order to support the communities are?
See, and that's a funny discussion, Jason, because we are dealing with the current topic of Twitch making it so if you raid somebody when you have less than 5 people in your stream, they can't see it.
Yeah.
That's the first topic right there, where it's like, yo, you need to fix that. Like, I can see, if I have the Twitch stream manager pulled up, I'll see a little notification in the corner that says, hey, this person raided you, but your alerts don't pop up. That's a problem. People, like, we're supposed to be cultivating growing small YouTubers, not YouTubers, fucking Twitch streamers. But regardless, wherever you are, same thing. Like, but Twitch specifically, you should be trying to like grow a healthy environment of Twitch streamers, because Ninja didn't start at like 1 million views. Like Shroud or whoever you FaZe Clan, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like Dr. Disrespect didn't start with 1,000,001 people. He had to grow. Everybody has to grow. You can't just assume that these big streamers are going to stay here forever, because they might get a job in like a gaming environment that's bigger than this. Like, if you don't allow people to grow and get big, then what's the point of having streaming if you're just going to cap at these specific people? How can you even get diversity hires or diversity pushes if you don't allow small streamers to develop? So I would say that's the first goal right there. I think that Twitch needs to get better about elevating Black and LGBT voices in general. I think that they will cherry pick a few that are like safe for work, if or what have you, because they'll see like I don't even know, but I've seen I'm not gonna call people out for this shit. I've seen a couple like them like throw, hey, this person's streaming right now because they have like 1 million+ views and shit. I would love if Twitch would develop a system where they contact you if you have like 5 viewers, 10 viewers, and be like, yo, like you are a LGBT person, can we help give you a push? If they would reach out and give more tools to stream teams. I think it's bullshit that stream teams have to be created by a partner. I understand the reasoning behind it. That way there's not 1,000,001 stream teams and people are being let down constantly. But at the same time, I think if there was a better way to make stream teams that was safer but that didn't involve having to be a partner, that would elevate a lot of people. So if there could be a more connected system to elevate voices, that would be great. I can, like, either a raid connect or something like that. Like, hey, this person is playing your game. They have these hashtags. Look at it. Look at that. Like, granted, some of it comes from other streamers, other bigger streamers not being elitist. and actually giving a fuck about like smaller streamers. Because there's a lot of partners,
100%.
a lot of bigger streamers that like want to be elitist and say, "Oh, these small streamers don't matter. All we matter and shit." Like, motherfucker, you was just as small as us not even that long ago.
And I think that's true.
Go ahead.
That's true. I mean, with this, first of all, there's a couple things that are going on. What I heard was, one, that they're with stopping the below 5 viewer raid thing, there are people who are super, super small here, and they're not getting that motivation psychologically or in terms of like raid and support wise. They're getting denied that, which other people got. Like the bigger streamers right now had that. They had that motivation, that push to keep going because they had small things like that help small streamers, right? And then you have them choosing monoliths as a community, right? Like, say they don't choose. There's a general population to be ignored. Like they're ignoring general people who are trans, the LGBTQ community in general, people who are certain races in general, and they'll cherry pick. Okay, look, this person is perfect. We'll prop them up on the front of Twitch, and we'll say we did our job. They're doing that, right? And when I see bigger streamers, the biggest one I can talk about is Asmongold, because he just went viral with the ads. He saw how many ads were going on, and he realized that people, if you're a smaller streamer and you're trying to gain traction, people are not going to wait through a 1 minute and 30-second ad to see the content that a 2-3 viewer streamer has realistically, and that's deterring people from growing that channel, right? So there are a lot of things that Twitch can do to help grow smaller streamers, and specifically if they can help certain communities ask, okay, we see you putting the effort in, because there's statistics everywhere on Twitch. You can see every statistic you want. If we see you're putting in this effort, you're not just on here to be here, and you're part of this community, how can we help? And that's a good place that Twitch can start from for support. I agree with that.
I think there's like similar. I've seen like other YouTubers talk about this. Like, there's community managers. I think there should be LGBT community managers for people that, even if you're not a partner, you should be able to apply to talk to a community manager. That way you can elevate your content. I think that, and this isn't me trying to prop my own team up on a platform, on like a pedestal, but like, if they would reach out to LGBT stream teams and attempt to elevate them, that way they can be a pillar of the community, the people to be around. That would be great, but they don't do that. They don't, and it's frustrating when you want people to be in this environment, be on this platform, but the platform doesn't give diddly squat about you. And it's depressing. Like, there was the one day you specifically said, "Yo, I had to sit through a whole long ass ad before I came and watched your stream," and I was like, "Damn, really?"
Yeah.
Like, it baffles me that the idea that, like, I don't think I'm getting any of that ad money. It's Twitch. Like, they should be trying to speak with smaller streamers. And like, I get it. There's 1,000,000 plus one of us who are trying to stream.
We're everywhere. Yeah.
But I think if you can't have a community manager, have like a smaller creator summit. Do something like that could be beneficial to people. That way they are getting the support they want, and that might be the best thing for you. Is like, have a smaller creator summit, because like, there will be the people that are like flakes, that are like little kids or what have you, that are like trying to get big or some shit, and or like the Apex sweats and shit, like, who act all elitist and whatnot. But if there are like, they send out applications or send out invitations to a smaller creator summit, that can make a big ass difference to the community if they tried that.
That's beautiful ideas, and I wonder how that can be put in place, because I feel like there has to be an idea box or something on Twitch, a function. Whereas we can, like, hey, as community members, we understand that there are 1,000,000 of, in small stream returns, there are 1,000,000 of us. You have to keep us in check. There are people who just do it to do it. There are people who are like flakes, like you said, they just do it for a month and never get back on. How do we get through that and do things like community managers, so that you're sorting through those problems and still supporting your communities to help growth, and all for the end user? Go ahead.
I know. I think the thing is, I think Twitch already tries that with like, having requirements to meet affiliate to make money on Twitch, stuff like that. But I feel as if it was more people existing to create that system of a summit or community management, like if there was like hypothetical, if Gamers Plus, my team, was used by Twitch to have to be community managers and exist, show LGBT folk how to stream. We have like a recycling program where we will attempt to get people the tech they need to stream and stuff like that, get them a capture card, get them this and that. Like if that was a thing that could be used by Twitch to be a community management system for LGBT folk, or there was like a Black POC focused community system, that would be a great tool, because a lot of us don't have a lot of money and stuff like that. So help us and also, especially for low income people that are trying to make streaming a career, make it so the 100 payout cap isn't a thing. Maybe lower it to $50 or $20. I know like the reason behind it is because Twitch has to pay $1 million in one fees to pay out that many things to people. But they make enough money as it is to take a loss. Like we're in this issue of another recession, like because of COVID, where like I could have made $20 here, $50 there, $100 here a few months ago, but I didn't, because because people would gift me subs or gift me bits and shit like that. I didn't see that shit. That's why I started telling people, hey, can you hit the donate button? I have alerts. People will see your donate. Like that'll go straight to my PayPal. Like that would be beneficial. So if there would be a community-based system that Twitch could interview and prop up, that way they could exist and be a management platform, that would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be super duper awesome. And I can tell you put a lot of thought into that beforehand with even incorporating how your Gamers Plus team has a recycling program, which is sick, because if anybody throws away their mic, because people like to upgrade, somebody else down the line is getting blessed, whether they get it for free or they get it for super cheap. That person prefers that over just getting a brand new thing, and it's gonna better the community as a whole. With the pay cap, the $100, that pay cap, I feel like that is going to encourage people to just donate, because if I don't donate, I'm going to get and Becca, I see your 2 comments, and I saw that off from talk. I definitely redeemed. Catch me on Discord, which is in the below, and it'll go from there. When people are doing pay caps, I'm gonna tell you to donate. If I'm openly you're saying like, how do I donate? Yeah, just donate below, because if you do subs and all this, I might not see it for 3 months, just in case things get slow and it's not. It's like summer, people are out, they're not watching streams. I'm not gonna see that for another 3 months. So that is a real thing.
Most of.
Yeah. Well, that I have these set numbers of questions, and I was gonna be like, oh, we're gonna do 1 through 9, and we're gonna kill. But different questions popped up, different things happen. I think that's very, very good. Because like if you ever work with a friend and you go to that friend for a business thing, you don't ever mainly talk about that business thing. You talk about a whole bunch of different stuff that's going on, because like that's your friend and all of that. So I feel like conversations that go off trail are some of the best conversations.
Can develop into the best interviews you ever have, because 100%. You can like talk to people about more things. You get to ask more questions because you get to know them as the conversation evolves.
100%. So let's see. Are there any last like questions or situations that you want to talk about? Because I feel like you're the one bringing the value to the conversation. So I want to see like, oh yeah, I definitely want to bring this up or anything like that.
I mean, how do you see the development of Black streamers, or even like from an outsider looking in, or perspective of LGBTQIA folks? Like, how do you see potential for us to exist on this platform? Because I know a lot of people say we shouldn't exist or like be on the platform in general, but like from our perspective, from both the Black situation and the gay situation, like we are constantly looked at as not the material to be, say, like at an Xbox conference or what have you and stuff like that. So like, do you think there's a chance for us to be elevated to a higher platform at some point?
When I think of that, I always use parallels because if I'm not so familiar with Twitch, but I'm more familiar with this other thing, I like to parallel, like, talk about the other thing and relate it to Twitch. What I'm really, really familiar about is, like, business concepts and things like that, because just school and things like that. And right now, there's actually there is research, and please punish me because I don't know the quotes of articles, or like I can't like, oh, here's a peer-reviewed article, link it, right? But there's been conversation about people who are in a business setting, and they're cisgendered males and they're gay, usually have more business success than men who are not the men who are not gay. And I'm not saying that the research wrong, but there are definitely points in business where your sexuality doesn't promote like a negative effect to your business standing. It actually can promote or is neutral. Oh. And so I think if that can happen in business, in other mediums, Twitch 100% can have it. And while I can't think of anybody off the top of my head who's like a top streamer, who's like all these things, maybe there are a couple who are like for example, I'm going to say his name, Raj Patel, right? Raj Patel came out as, I think he came out as bisexual, right? Yep. He's the biggest streamer I know who's like openly bisexual, gay, anything like that.
Don't quote me on that, but I believe you're correct.
So yeah, if we believe in this one, we'll go with that. But he's the biggest streamer I know, and I feel like but he got to that level, and then he came out. So that's different if you're coming out openly, right? So I think that can show that you can be at the top and be gay, but as far as working up there openly and etc., that's a whole different thing we have to go through. I think conversations like this on a larger scale, and just our community putting on harder and harder over time, we'll just get there. So I believe it can. Yeah. What about you?
It's I like you just said, the idea of us being out in the forefront now before we're even big, mm-hmm. It lends to an interesting situation where like people come in and are like, hey, this guy's gay, I don't want to watch that, gross. Like mm-hmm. That happens. Like it does. But there will be days where you'll see like people elevated who are, or you'll see that like trans folk streamers who are actually like getting popular and stuff like that. You'll see drag queen streamers who are actually starting to come up and actually be something, which is so cool. Mm. Like that's a great thing that we're allowing that to be a thing. But the thing that's been happening recently with even my stream team is people are going to Trovo because they see opportunities there at being able to be themselves and not and actually have a bit of a following. They're getting like 30 plus subs from a different platform.
Tell me about Trovo. This is my first time hearing of it.
Trovo is another streaming platform. It's smaller. It's Trovo.live. I don't want to misspeak. I believe it's it's managed in a different country. Mm-hmm. But what a lot of these streamers will do, instead of like multi-streaming, they will do like half Twitch, like Twitch days here, Trovo's days here, and they're seeing more results on Trovo because people like can use their bits and stuff like that to help elevate you to the front page and stuff like that.
Oh, okay,
if they like the content. Like that should be something that Twitch should implement. Is that if people can push energy and time and emotes or bits or what have you into your stuff, that can elevate you to the front page. People can notice you better. Like I think community managers for different games like Apex or Dead by Daylight or what have you should be looking at more people in their community besides just like a few, and say, hey, that's a black person playing Dead by Daylight. And like one of the things that I love that I do when I'm playing Dead by Daylight, I only play Tap, Claudette, and Adam because they look like me. They are my people. They are black. They represent my culture. And I love Dead by Daylight for giving my people a platform because there's not a lot of brothers and sisters in video games that aren't stereotypes. That's a problem. So like, it's one of those things where like, if Dead by Daylight would like let their community manager know that, hey, a black person's playing your game, and yeah, I play on console, but I still play your damn game. Like that would be great. So it's a multifaceted issue. There's like the stigma of console streaming by using a capture card. There, like if you don't have a big budgeted PC, you aren't that good of a streamer. There's like it's a multifaceted freaking issue.
Right.
But if it's a problem that Twitch needs to address and a problem that community managers for video games need to address, where they actually look at content creators who are small and big and look at the diversity of those content creators. That way they're not just picking like one white person, one black person, yada yada. Like they're looking at everybody and picking multiple black people, multiple Spanish people, multiple LGBT people, like doing everything and covering every aspect of the spectrum. That way everyone is included in the thing. Like I know Darva, he's one of the biggest Dead by Daylight streamers, and he is from a different country. And like in is big, and that's a great find. That's awesome that he was able to do that. But he's a big streamer. Why isn't Dead by Daylight looking at other smaller streamers? Like honestly, like specifically me, but like anybody that plays your game. That should be something we should be doing, is looking at everybody fairly and not just picking one person.
Yeah, definitely being more, having more of that equality stance for other streamers who are not top 1% are something that needs to be helped, because simple numbers, and if not just simple numbers, there's things like again, metrics. Who's putting in this work? You know, who's not just affiliate, who's smaller, but who's been smaller and been streaming for this much time, trying to do these different things and all of that, right?
Yeah, because like you'll look at like the progress to partner, and you'll see people like me who have like 20, 30, 45 like hours of stream time per week. But then, and then like they say, because the thing is, they got the partner qualifications are streamed like 12 days in a row, stream for like a certain amount of hours, and have 75 concurrent viewers. I have both of those other two requirements over and then some, because it's like 50 days in a row, and then like almost 100 hours streamed and stuff like that. And it's like you could be elevating people who have that content, but you're not doing that, and that's the problem.
Listen, I first of all, thank you so much for providing that context, especially about small streamers. I think that bigger streamers are always conscious of that, and I hear them talking about things like, oh well, when I know if I was a small streamer behind ads, people wouldn't come to the stream. Like people are thinking of small streamers, but as far as implementation, that's going to take a lot of work, because people love to talk about it, but they hate to actually put it in place, especially if you're like a Twitch mod or Twitch staff. There's probably a whole list of processes you have to go through to even get like a change to the site officially.
Yeah, probably.
And is there a story behind your nose ring? That's like a personal question. Is there a story?
Just a nose ring. I mean, like, I got it from Body Candy. Like, it's just like, because I have
a store? Would it like a piercing place?
Yeah, like bodycandy.com is his website. But like, I got my nose pierced like a year ago. Like, I have my nose pierced, my ears pierced, my navel pierced, my nipples pierced. It doesn't matter. Piercings don't bug me. I have the BioShock tattoos. I have my Dishonor tattoo. I have an Aquaman tattoo. I have a Dark Souls tattoo on my leg. Like I am very much a gamer. I rep this shit
hard. Tattoos are a serious, super duper commitment. And yeah. How much is like each piercing cost? Like how much does each one cost on average?
Nose was 60, nipples were 80, ears were like
for each
10. Nipple,
or was it like overall?
Oh.
Okay, it's expensive.
Ears were like $10 at Walmart because I was being lazy. The navel was like 40, something like that.
Appreciate it. I didn't even know like you could. I thought it would be less expensive, because I'm like, oh, they're like rings, but then I'm thinking like they probably have to be a certain type of metal so they don't get infected or like
metal.
Bump up
Like
anything.
they have to have cleaning supplies and like specific medical supplies to sterilize you for that kind of shit. That way you don't get infections. Like piercing is an expensive ass like job. Same thing with tattooing. Like tattooing from like, cause my best friends are tattoo artists. And they had to go through so many more like health concerns because of COVID that like they were playing out the wazoo to just like do their jobs.
Yeah, super. That's a real impact that's happening on a lot of service-based businesses right now.
Yeah.
I'm super glad that you're comfortable like talking about all that and like saying like, yeah, this is like some things that are going on in my life and this is some things that like I've done, especially with piercings. And I was just curious about that. So that was a personal inquiry.
I'm about to say no, like, and the thing is, like, I don't. The reason why I have like gaming shit on my, I'm like as like tattoos, like the BioShock ones have a specific meaning for multiple levels. Not only because the story of BioShock is so impactful to me, but because as a black man, I will never let somebody make a choice for me. Because the saying is, a man chooses, a slave obeys. I will never be a slave to somebody else's shit. That's why when I was there was an issue with a Destiny clan I was in, and they were like using the F word against other people in Crucible because they were frustrated, but they weren't using it at me directly because they knew I was gay. I was like, fuck that. You are not going to say that shit. That is not how that works. You are not going to just say it indirectly, but still be like think I'm gonna be okay with that. Nuh-uh, son. Nuh-uh. That's not how that works. And like that's why when I went to vote, I voted on my ticket. I don't let anybody control me. I run my own shit. That's why that mattered to me. The Dishonored one mattered to me is because if Christianity is a bunch of bullshit, at the end of the day, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, then I still want to know that there is a force out there that is looking out for me. I don't know what the hell is out there. And if it is the dark sider, if it is something like that, I know I'm living my life by my creed. So I chose to have that on me because I'm marked by my choice. Because in that game, everything in Dishonored is your choice. And I chose that.
That got a little deep.
Yeah, a little bit. Like that's why like people can get like an infinity symbol or whatever or like a little tattoo. It doesn't matter. Like yeah, my shit is gaming related, but everything matters to me. Like my Dark Souls tattoo, that meant a lot to me because Dark Souls was something that I thought I could never beat, and then I beat it. And then I told literally everyone, I was like, look, I know there's like Dark Souls people that are like, get good, scrub. You don't know how to play the game. Yeah. Like there's those idiot people on Kotaku and stuff like that, and I can call them idiots because I'm a journalist. I understand. Like, you're being an idiot. Dark Souls, Sekiro, Bloodborne, they don't need hard modes. They just need people to explain the game to them. That way they're not struggling with it. Anybody can learn Dark Souls. Anybody can learn Bloodborne, Sekiro. Doesn't matter. If you are willing to take the time and punch your head against the brick wall enough times, you will break through that brick wall. It doesn't matter. Like, it's why I will always tell people, I will teach you Dark Souls. I will devote whole streams to teaching people Dark Souls if they want me to. I don't care. So that's why the Dark Souls tattoo meant a lot to me.
Thanks for going on all your tattoos, piercings.
Yeah, man, you was asking. I love talking about that kind of
shit. Appreciate it. Usually when you ask somebody a question, they're like very reserved, like this, that. But it's like, boom, yeah, this is going on. Boom, boom. I love that. That I think I don't want to call it rap. What else we have to cover? Is there anything else we want to cover?
That's it. I'm fine to end it there. That's okay with you. That's something like deal for me.
All right. Well, if that is the end of our stream, I just want to say thank you so much thanks so much for coming. I super duper appreciate it. Everybody, please follow PandaThePaladin on Boom. That's his Twitch. I have to type all these out because I don't have to copy paste it right now. That's the Twitter and the Insta. Boom. Follow him on all three. Appreciate you for being here. You're open to come on any future podcast that I have, or I don't know what this is, a podcast. I don't know what this is called. Live sessions.
You need help putting on podcast platforms, holler at me. That's what I love doing is like, if you need help with it, I got you.
Yeah, 100%. And put on for your, if you have any extra links, like I know you had your own team that you had, or any like of your other podcasts that you do, feel free to link that.
Let's say no, like, yeah. I run a Black Nerd podcast called Blur Grounds. We talk about everything when it comes to Black Nerd comics, gaming, anime. We interviewed the cast of Cannon Busters last year when that came on Netflix. We talked to a couple different other voice actors when it comes to just diversity and discrimination in voice acting. We've talked to like a couple of different people when it comes to just being creators in video games or comics or what have you. I'm about to interview on my comic book podcast, Panel to Panel. I'm going to be interviewing one of the writers of Black Hammer. It's a Dark Horse series about a gay alien, basically. Like it has like sort of like composite versions of different superheroes, and there's like a gay version of Martian Manhunter in it. And I'm going to be interviewing like one of the creators of that because it was very impactful for me when I was coming out.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I feel like people would that's such a different take that people don't see a lot. They would love to watch that.
Yeah, no. So like, I'm going to be interviewing him on my show in a few weeks, and yeah. So like, if you ever want to check those out, we are on like every podcast platform. Like, I have gone to great lengths to get my shows on every platform. That's why I would love to help people. If you need help learning podcasts, learning video games, always holla at me. I love teaching people, so holla at me. That's my thing. You can hit me up on Twitter. Like you can hit me up on Twitch and DMs. Doesn't matter. I'm always open to help people out.
Boom. Thank everybody. Add him there. Add him on Insta as well. So Twitter, Insta. I'm gonna spam this to guest one. And Beck, I see you said working on a little show of their own, just a little YouTube thing. And you know Panda, so you guys probably already been talking about that and know about that, which is great. That's growth right there. That's boom. I'm gonna just spam this. There. Wait. There you go. I had to do it one time for it to work. Listen, thank you so much for being here. Honestly, I appreciate everybody who stopped by.
He's helping me out by being in my chats, and like when you wanted me to come through here, I was immediate. I was like, let me know what time, because like this is an opportunity to help other people be themselves, and I was more than happy to come on and help out.
I appreciate that, and hopefully the people in the chat appreciate that more than I ever could. I super sincerely thank you for coming on and sharing this information. I don't do I have anything confetti like? I really don't. I have almonds. That's pretty much it. We don't have confetti, but am I going to our outro screen? I'm just gonna copy the link instead and spam the actual link instead of the command. And there you go. Please follow him here on Twitch. Devon, thanks for following him on Twitch. I appreciate that. Anybody else watching? Slide this man to follow. And follow up with him on Twitter, which I'll do one more time. Any last words from our guest, PandaThePaladin?
No, man. Thank you for having me. It's been a good time.
No, I'm blessed to have you, man. You had the time and you came by. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go to our wrap-up screen. Boom. That's not a wrap-up screen. And has everyone been here? I'm going to head out. Panda's going to head out. Adios. You can stay in Discord. I'm gonna put some music on. All right, y'all. Hold up, y'all. Wait. This outro's janky. All right, here we go.
All you know is brain. All you know is intellect. All you know is cash. All you know is get a check. All you know is A. All you know is the T. All you know is M. I make money come to me. Little pussy get spit out. Chew the fuck up the money you shit out. Tryna be an actor that get you fucked up. Faucet on the ground that get you stuck up. I don't know no booster. Style get you chewed up. Style with them losers. Bitch, I hang with them bruises. Top of the morning. I don't do no snoring. All I do is flooring. All I do is pouring. Came in through the deuce stuff. Sweet just like a pusher. Canvas all white like a Ku Klux. Bitch, I'm going stupid. Leave your roof up. Go down doofus. We hot. You was. Too much gear. Need to clean my room up. Too much fear. Need me the man up. All that whiplash. Need to get my bands up. Cash updates when I pick my hands up. Trips overseas. That shit outlandish. I gotta eat. I can't be famous.
Crispy dinner, bitch, I don't give a fuck what you said. Young nigga bun, y'all be rockin' bootleg. Crispy dinner, bitch, I give a fuck who said. Big nigga bun.